Recording in progress.
Good afternoon, everyone. To our resource speaker, Attorney Lumanog, our BEU administrators, faculty, and students here in Zoom, and those joining us via the live stream, welcome to this afternoon's learning session on digital citizenship. This is one very timely topic for all of us. I am Mrs. Emma Igos from Miriam College, SDTEC, your host for this session. Let us begin with some reminders. We would like to inform you that the meeting will be recorded. The copy of the recording shall be used for documentation purpose and will be retained by the ODBE. The ODBE will not share the recording with any other individual or organization unless required by law. Only the ODBE shall be permitted to access and download the recording. If you wish to request for a copy, you may inform the ODBE in writing. Any unauthorized downloading shall be dealt in accordance with Miriam College's Data Privacy Policy, Data Privacy Act, its IRR-related issuances, and laws of the Republic of the Philippines.
Talk to her. Di ba sinabi ko sa'yo, you cannot go out alone with Stephen?
Dad, how come alone? Hello?
The link to the attendance form is posted in our chat box. Please sign in for your attendance. For those joining via MC YouTube channel or Facebook, the attendance form will be shared via your Viber groups or Google Chat and Google Chat rooms. For ease of visual checking, we request the Zoom participants to rename using the format unit_last name_first name. To open our session this afternoon, we call on the President of the Miriam QC High School Student Council, Ms. Denise Ang, to lead us in our opening prayer.
Let us remember that we are in the most loving presence of the Lord. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering us all today in this webinar on digital citizenship, together with the other student leaders of Miriam College. Undoubtedly, things have been more difficult during this online setup, but we thank you for still giving us the opportunity to lead our respective classes and communities. As student leaders and learners during this setup, give us the wisdom to make the right decisions, gain strength and energy to accomplish our tasks, be patient in serving our peers, be sensitive and understand the needs of others, and remain humble as we serve our groups. Additionally, in this time where fake news also proliferates, give us a discerning eye and a compassionate heart in order to seek truth and justice in everything that we do. May you bless each and every one of us as we continue to serve our peers and be able to do our best for your honor and greater glory. We ask all of these in your name. Amen. Miriam of Nazareth, teach us your ways and lead us to Jesus. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you very much, Ms. Denise Ang, for that heartwarming prayer. Okay, so I think we're about to start. We're actually ready to start. To give our opening remarks and introduce our resource speaker, we call on the Director for Basic Education, Ms. Louie Tampinco.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you can hear me all right and see me all right, and I hope my connectivity holds at least until the end of my opening remarks and introduction. Thank you, Ms. Emma. So good afternoon to Attorney Lumanog, our guest speaker, to Ms. Raman, Ms. Carino, and Ms. Morales, the unit heads of the high school, SDTEC, and MC Nuvali, respectively. I would also want to welcome my fellow BEU administrators, our hardworking faculty, and of course, our student leaders who are in the Zoom call with us and those who are watching with us on YouTube today. I hope everyone is doing well and feeling well this Friday afternoon. Now, digital citizenship is something that we all have to learn, most especially at this time, that it seems that most of our interactions these days are done online. I don't know how many of you still have and use alarm clocks, wristwatches, timers, and calculators, for instance, as these single function devices have been incorporated into our laptops, tablets, and mobile phones, along with the apps that we use to communicate with friends and let them know what we are doing through social media, blogs, and other online means. We are now on our second year of online learning at Miriam College. I think some of you have transitioned quite well to this new way of doing things in school. But of course, there are dangers that come with spending so much time online. There are some things that we do or post online that we are not so mindful of, that may compromise our identity and safety, or even cause harm or land us in bigger trouble because of the consequences that we did not think through. That's the reason for our talk today. Because just as we are concerned about your safety in school when we were still on campus together, we are just as concerned about your safety online where we spend most of our time now. Just because we are in the safety of our own homes does not mean we are completely safe if we do not know how to protect ourselves from the very real dangers that are present on the internet. And also, just because we are online and can be protected by some form of anonymity or privacy, it does not mean that we can say or post what we like without regard for consequences. I hope we all listen in today and reflect with an open mind during this session. Let us make the most of our time today with our guest speaker, whom I have the honor of introducing now. Attorney Erlaine Vanessa D. Lumanog is the attorney for of the Policy Review Division under the Privacy Policy Office of the National Privacy Commission. Prior to joining the civil service, she practiced law with Castillo, Laman, Tan, Pantaleon, and San Jose, a reputable full-service firm specializing in corporate law and special projects. Attorney Lumanog obtained her bachelor's in science degree in management, major in communications technology management from the Ateneo de Manila University in 2010, her Juris Doctor degree with honors from the Ateneo de Manila University School of Law in 2014. Soon after, she was admitted to the Philippine Bar in 2015. In the NPC, she mainly drafts opinions on the interpretation of the Data Privacy Act, drafts comments to proposed bills in Congress to ensure the protection of data privacy, and serves as a resource speaker in interagency committees and data privacy trainings to both public and private stakeholders, among others. Attorney Lumanog is the Commission's education sector champion and personally advocates for the rights of women and children. Let us give a warm MCBEU welcome to Attorney Erlaine Vanessa Lumanog. Attorney Lumanog, welcome. You have the screen.
Thank you so much, Miss Louie, for that introduction. And good afternoon, everyone from Miriam. And I guess this is not just one campus, but it spans 3 campuses, and that is amazing. And thank you again for inviting the National Privacy Commission to give a lecture on what it means to be a responsible digital citizen in this age today. So I will get right to it, and I will share my screen. So I hope that even if I don't see everyone, this still becomes an interactive discussion of some sort. So I would love to see your reactions, your emojis there, or any reaction that you have in the chat box. So yeah, I will present it and let's get to it. So today we will be focusing on data privacy as well as all the protectional measures that you can do to protect your own data privacy right as well as your safety online. So before we get into the law, the data privacy law itself, I just want to give a brief background on why the Data Privacy Act is so important to us right now. So if you can see these devices, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have were born maybe 2007 and above. I don't know if you've seen these devices, but I just want you to think, what do you think they have in common? So some would say in my discussions with them, they would say that they're obsolete or they're for communication. But the common denominator that I'm actually looking for is that all of these devices, their functions are already in one device that we know as the smartphone. Actually, the iPhone is not the first smartphone, but it is the first smartphone that brought the internet into the hands of the common user, and with that sparked what we call the digital revolution. So with the internet in the palm of one's hands, it also brought about different industries, different services, and it literally changed the world. So I don't know if the students here right now still experience the analog era, but some of us did, like myself. And that is why this next video will show you how the digital revolution has really changed our lives today.
Times have changed a lot over the last 30 years. Even the way we tell time has changed. When I was a kid, you heard in the tell time, they'd have the thing with all the clocks and you had to write in the time. But now we all have phones and we just look at it and we know. And it made me wonder if young people even know how to read an old time clock anymore. You know the round things with the hands? Okay, so anyway, we went on the street and we asked people to tell us what time it is using an analog clock, and it's time to find out how they did in tonight's edition of Can You Do It?
Well, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Can you look at this and tell me what time it is?
Oh, no. No, you can't. It is 4:37. Is that correct? It's 2. I want to say 40. No, not 45.
Chris, let me ask you this. Where do you go to college?
UT Arlington.
Want to say anything to your teachers back in college?
Not at all, because they're going to be so disappointed that I have not read a clock like this since elementary school. Let me see. Okay.
Oh man, it is 8:10, 8:20, 8:17. No?
AM or PM?
So yeah, you saw in that video that kids nowadays, well, in the US, they don't know how to read the analog clock anymore. So I'm not sure if kayo here, mga students, now you still know how to read an analog clock. I do hope that you still do. But that is just emphasizing how much the digital revolution has changed the way we do our the daily things that we do. So here you can see in this infographic that we did have a life before the internet. So we used to go to the internet cafe to actually access the internet. We would go to the library to do research, but now we have Google, and it's actually, they say that's not an excuse anymore to not know things, because you have the Google search bar to help you know about things, right? In just one click. And also communicating with the loved ones that we have in our lives, our friends and our family. Before, we'd actually go meet up, have discussions, but now it's all possible because of the social media apps that we know of. So we have Facebook. And of course, all of this just gives us a lot of conveniences, but also it will show that it's already intertwined in the way we do things in life. So here in this study that was done by We Are Social and Hootsuite, you will see that of the 150 plus-ish million Filipinos that are here, there are 73.91 million Filipino users of the internet. And I just want you to focus on this fact that at the average daily time of use is actually 10 hours and 56 minutes, which is amazing because in the world, the average is only around 6 hours and 50 plus minutes. So dito, guys, we are valedictorians in the world. And here, of course, with the use of the internet, it also has a tandem of the use of social media. And you will see that out of the 10 hours that you spent on the internet, 4 hours of it is spent on social media networks, which includes your typical social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and also messaging apps, because they are still considered as social media networks. But of course, when you use social media, you churn out a lot of data. And here in this graph, you will see that in 1 minute on the internet, in this day and age, these are the activities that are happening. So you will see here that there are 695,000 stories that are shared in Instagram. There are 28,000 subscribers watching at 1 minute on Netflix. And all of that creates a data, the digital footprint that we leave in the internet. So, of course, with the use of social media, it's all very convenient. We get to communicate with our loved ones, but it's not all good, because there is also some very bad, and that has been demonstrated by the Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal back in 2016. I'm not sure if all of you are aware of it, but just a summary for some of you. Basically, there was this third-party app that was installed by a professor in Facebook. And that third-party app, of course, there were users who used the app that is called This Is Your Digital Life, which is a personality quiz. So they had to answer things about themselves. But what they didn't know is that that app used their data, as well as the data of their friends and family in that network as well, for the marketing firm Cambridge Analytica to create psychographic profiles of them. And what they did was, allegedly, they targeted those users, the friends and family in their networks, with particular ads or particular content that will lead them to vote or be swayed in voting one candidate. So it was a huge discussion and issue in the United States. It also affected the world, because even in Europe and even here now that the 2022 elections are coming up, this is one topic that personal data must be used, of course, within the limits. And of course, the data subjects, the individuals, must know how their data is being used. Not like this, where they didn't know that their data was being used for something else. So that is why data privacy is very significant for you, especially that you're growing up in this digital age. So data privacy is protected by our own law, by Republic Act 10173. So if you don't know yet, we do have a data privacy law. So we call it the Data Privacy Act 2012, or the DPA. And the subject of the law is already in the title itself. So here you will see that it says that it is an act protecting individual personal information in ICT systems in the government and private sector, creating for this purpose my commission, the National Privacy Commission, and for other purposes. So I highlighted here the red terms because these are important, because the Data Privacy Act protects the personal data of individuals, meaning only natural people, not the juridical people that the law recognizes, like corporations, government entities, partnerships, and the like. So it's only really about natural individuals. And what I also highlighted here is that the law is also applicable to both government and private sector. So why is this very important? Because in other countries, their Data Privacy Act, if they even have one, does not apply to government. Being a democratic society, this is important to us, that we have equality in law, and also that government is accountable. And they say that government is the biggest repository of the personal data of its citizens. So the Data Privacy Act protects the right to privacy. And the right to privacy is a term that was actually coined by Justice Brandeis of the United States back in 1928. Imagine, guys. Our law is 2012, but the right to privacy has been discussed way longer than that. So Justice Brandeis said in the case of Olmsted versus United States. He said that the right to privacy is the right to be left alone, or the most comprehensive of rights and the right most valued by civilized men. Because without the right to privacy, you will not be able to be who you want to be, to do what you want, because there will be prying eyes in everything that you do or everything that you say. So the right to privacy is what you actually need also to exercise the other rights that you treasure, like the right to free speech, the right to association. So the right to privacy, again, guys, is very, very important. And what I want to also emphasize is that while the DPA does protect the right to privacy, there are a lot of kinds of privacy. So we have bodily privacy, so that's security upon your person. Environmental privacy, so really about your house, where you live. But what the Data Privacy Act focuses on is informational privacy. And the right to informational privacy is the right of an individual to control the access, collection, use of their personal data that are in the hands of others. So it's really about your own personal data. So the informational privacy is essential to the protection of one's ability to develop ideas and personal relationships, and underpins human dignity and other values like freedom of association and freedom of speech. Again, this is so important now, especially that everything about us may be out there because of the use of internet and social media. So I'm not really going to get into the nitty-gritty details of the DPA, but just a summary, really. Your right to data privacy, again, is your right to be protected under the law. And that focuses on the use of your personal data by others. So personal data is the umbrella term that we have when we refer to the kinds of personal data. So we have different kinds, like personal information. It's what you call like the basic category of personal data. So it's really anything that can identify you as a unique person. So your name, your telephone number. Before, when the DPA was new, people would say, phone number, ano ba yan? Personal information ba yan? And numbers lang naman yun, di ba? You don't know who the person behind it is. But when you put it together with other information out there that is available, for example, especially if you're a postpaid subscriber, that number is tied to one person. So immediately you will be able to identify one unique individual. And then we have what we call sensitive personal information, and that is specified by the law because this is a limited list and they require greater protection because of their very nature. So sensitive personal information are those about one's race, ethnic origin, age, marital status, and also the health information, educational information, the genetic or sexual life of a person, and those government issued IDs. So why are these sensitive? Because they can provide an opportunity for discrimination upon a person, the loss of autonomy, or the loss of the security of their identity. So for example, there was a teacher in Cebu before that posted his PRC license online just because I guess he's super proud, diba? We do that. Diba? But what happened was months later, he had a loan of several hundreds of thousands already in a bank that he did not apply for just because his PRC ID was obtained. So just imagine how sensitive those information is. So your right to data privacy really says that personal data must be processed or used only upon consent or other lawful basis, such as compliance to legal obligations, fulfillment of contractual obligations, and those obligations pursuant to a constitutional or statutory mandate, and all other provisions that are provided for by the law. So basically, your personal data can only be processed for legal purposes. And of course, there should be due regard to the data privacy principles that we call transparency, legitimate purpose, and proportionality. So Of course, what the Data Privacy Act wants to protect us from are the risks and threat to our own security and our data privacy. So risks that you have, again, I've discussed this with the identity theft. Also, the unauthorized use of data, like that example I said of Facebook, unlawful disclosure of data. Let's say if one company gets hacked and then your data is there, of course, there will be unlawful disclosure of your data, as well as the risk to loss or destruction of your data and the violation of your data privacy. So threats are those outside forces that may affect those risks that we are afraid of. So you have hackers who sabotage or deface the websites, and then software attacks that we call malicious software. So we have tons on different kinds. So we have viruses, worms, trojans, etc. Also adware, spyware. You actually see these when you browse the internet. So be very, very careful about them. And also we have what you call social engineering through phishing. Or I'm not sure if you've encountered an email that tries to phish your credentials. Trying to let it seem that it is illegitimate website. So that is what we call phishing. Data privacy, again, is something that allows you to be free, to be autonomous, to be who you want to be, and also eat what you want. So I will show this video showing you why you need data privacy in your lives.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for calling Hot and Fast Pizzas. Can I have
I want to order a pizza.
Surely, sir. Can I have your multipurpose identification number?
One sec. Yeah, it's RSP 06031983MI.
Thank you for the number, sir. Am I speaking with Mr. Rajneesh Haspuri from Baikala, Mumbai?
Yes.
The number from which you're calling is 9191930484 and your residential number is 22223244.
Yes. But how do you know all this?
We are connected to the system, sir. We have all the related information.
Thank you, sir. Good, good. I want to order a regular size seafood pizza.
Sure, sir. But that's not a good idea.
What do you mean?
As per your last medical records at Bombay Hospital, dated 9th August 2015, you have high blood pressure and a high cholesterol level, sir.
What are you saying?
As I said, we are connected to the system, sir.
Oh shit. Okay. Then what would you recommend?
Try a low-fat Super Veggie Delight Mexican pizza. You will like it.
And how can you say that?
As you borrowed a book titled Popular Mexican Food from National Library last month, which is overdue to be returned, sir.
Okay, I give up. See, I'm very hungry. Send me one of those. How much would it cost?
The total cost is rupees 365, including taxes, sir.
Okay, fine. You send the pizza. I'll pay for it by my credit card, okay?
I'm afraid you have to pay us by cash, sir. Your only active credit card of Apex Bank is over the limit and amount due is rupees 79,765 since July 2015. That's not including the late payment charges on your last cash withdrawal.
That's fine. You send the pizza. Good evening, sir. I guess I will have to go to the ATM in the next lane.
Sorry to inform, but you can't, sir. You have reached your daily cash limits, which was withdrawn at an ATM at Domestic Airport Terminal B when your wife took a flight to New Delhi today.
Damn it! How do you know?
As I said, we are connected.
Yes, you're connected to the system.
Just 25 minutes.
You send the pizza.
Thank you, sir.
I'll pay by cash. How long would it take?
25 minutes, sir. But if you can't wait, as you said earlier, that you're very hungry, you can always come to our nearest outlet.
What?
As you're just 4 minutes away from our nearest outlet in your area, and you have a car of number MS01XC3484, your Kazi brand.
Oh God! How the hell you know?
As I said to you earlier, we are connected to the system, sir.
What the? I just want my pizza.
Okay, your order is confirmed, sir. Anything else, sir?
Nothing. Would I be getting that 3 bottles of cola mentioned in your menu?
We normally would, sir. But based on your medical records, you're also a diabetic and...
Enough! Send the cola along, you...
I request you, please do not use such language, sir. You were convicted on 13th March 2015 for using abusive language to a policeman.
What?
And you were also arrested for misbehaving with a lady in a party.
Shut up! Just shut up, you. Hello?
Good evening, sir. Am I speaking with Mr. Rajneesh S. Puri?
Yes.
Sir, we have a complete anger management program which can treat your aggressive behavior.
What? Who told you that?
It's in our system, sir.
To hell with your system. Your system.
And guys, so diba, what if you just wanted that pizza without having someone else pry into your own medical records, your financial records? And data privacy does that for you because it protects your personal data from other people's use without authority, right? So because we know now that the personal data of our own personal data, and of course also of others, cannot be used only by any whim of anyone. So it should always be used within legal grounds. And then also we take that into the context of online education because the pandemic has brought us in this situation. I mean, I'm usually lecturing in front of an audience. Now I'm lecturing in front of a screen. But all of us have to adjust. And of course, we always use personal data in being students and I guess teachers and staff and administrators in this institution. So the NPC issued this bulletin on the do's and don'ts for online learning in public K to 12 classes. I'll just breeze through it. So basically, you respect other people's data privacy, guys. So if there are online education policies or social media policies by the school, you follow them. So also communications. Hopefully, also the submission of requirements and other assignments should be ideally done within the legal learning management system of the school. But if you don't have, it should be done directly because if you can remember, I said that information about an individual's education is sensitive and it can only be processed or used or disclosed, whatever you have it on that kind of data, only on a few legal grounds. So we have to be careful with what we do to educational information, and that includes your grades, your evaluation, and things like that. So if you do need to use the social media platforms for your requirements, of course, make it as private as possible, meaning you have to have closed groups, closed messaging groups, closed anything that's possible in social media. So don't, let's say, create a page that's public for anyone to see all your assignments, all your announcements, your section, and things like that, because that is prohibited. Also, you would want to protect yourself, your information from anyone who can access the internet. Also, one good do is to use a virtual background because we wouldn't want unnecessary information about, let's say, our private lives at home, our family, or anything that may, I guess, affect you as an individual, as a student, as a friend to your classmates. So we always encourage the use of virtual backgrounds. And as I said, lastly, respect your classmates and even your teacher's privacy. So don't, let's go to the don't. So don't share or post on social media anytime lang that you want the screen capture of your online class without the consent of your classmates or your teacher. And I guess this is one point that I want to for you to take note that under the law, minors, so those below 18 cannot give legal consent, cannot give valid consent. So consent is exercised by the parents. So Any posting by even by the teachers of their students in their own personal social media account should be prohibited unless valid consent is obtained. So I hope that is clear. So of course, to protect the privacy and the security also of the entire class, don't share your login credentials to anyone else. Also, don't share any unnecessary information about yourself or about anyone. Even in the private, let's say Zoom chat or in your private messaging group. Also, don't make any discussions on anything that can identify your educational information out to the public. So now we go to the what we're all here for, which is cyber safety and how we can use social media to the fullest without it being harmful to us. So I saw this very informative study made by the Stairway Foundation and the Decade, but it was still back in 2015. There's no update, but it's still very telling of what are the important issues that we need to protect our children from. So in the study, it says that um, there almost half of the children that were surveyed had public accounts, and that is very scary because again, anyone with the internet, as long as let's say they search your name or even just browse it, browse Facebook, they can see all that information about you, your photos, your videos. If your account is public, they can easily get those information without you knowing. So also there were children who chatted with online strangers. And of course, as much as we want to be trusting with other people, there are really malicious and bad people out there, either trying to take advantage of you or who would want to exploit you. So that's really one thing that you should be wary about. So, of course, posting of personal information. So there's also one risk that was seen. So there were links that were sent to children. 6 out of 10 pornographic links were sent to them via social media. So that's 6 out of 10, and that's a lot. And of course, we have cyberbullying, and this is a rampant issue that needs to be addressed not just by the teachers, not just by the parents, but also the children, the students who are involved. So here, the study said that with the ages 17 to 12, there were 3 out of 10 who were victims, and then for 13 to 16, which is I think your age here, 4 out of 10. That's a lot. So it was usually done via social media, so Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and maybe any secret social media that you kids have nowadays. So it was the ways that they were bullied was through threats. Like imagine 7 to 12 years old were being threatened by their fellow classmates. Also photo editing. Actually, I want to point this out, even if let's say the picture is not real, but it depicts a harm to one person because of that photo editing, even if it's not real, let's say animation, and then they just edited the face of that person, that's already considered as bullying, or and when it's done online, so it's cyberbullying. So this is also one fact that was unearthed. So this is super important. So it says here that only 7 out of 10 wanted their parents to know what their online activities were, and also their own. And as they grew older, so it decreased. So only 5 out of 10. And what's important here is that 50% of the children surveyed that they said that no one has talked to them about the risks and dangers online. So I'm sure your teachers here at Miriam have already discussed with you, but I'm here to emphasize the risks and dangers that you have online. So here, the risks of children and teens are: one, again, exposure to strangers, online sexual abuse and exploitation, three, cyberbullying, and 4, of course, the violation of your data privacy. So I don't know if any of you are fellow K-drama fans like me here, but if you have seen the K-drama called True Beauty, you would initially know you would see right away that it was really because of bullying. That's why this her story happened. So I actually really love it. So I will share one clip that was very intense about cyberbullying.
죽고 싶냐?
니들은 내가 왜 그렇게 싫은데? 내가 왜 싫어? 난 니들한테 잘못한 게 하나도 없는데 내가 왜 이렇게 괜히 싫어하는 거야? 야, 가르쳐줘? 응? 못생겨서. 야, 더러운 거 묻었다. 맞다.
야, 나한테 오지 마.
나 진짜 까먹었어. 어떻게 봐? 진짜 하지 마. 똑같다 다시 해봐. 하지 마. 야, 아까 넘어졌을 때 어땠지? 하지 말라고.
야, 쟤 어디가? 나 어디가?
하지 마. 지금 너무 싫어. 몰라.
남자도 개별로인데 폭탄이라 눈탱이도 맛이 갔나 봐.
여기서 얼평 꼴찌. 폭탄인데 자신감 개쩐다.
진짜 쪽팔려서 학교 어떻게 다니?
아이씨.
Ayun, so you see how traumatic it was. Really super traumatic on In Ju-gyung, the heroine of that K-drama. So not just in Korea, actually, it is a big issue here in the Philippines. And here you can see that just in 2019, so that was just prior to the pandemic, that it was found by UNICEF that online bullying remains prevalent in the Philippines and other countries. So here it says that that not just females are victims of cyberbullying, but also males. And they were experienced in the forms of verbal abuse over the internet or cell phone, and also as well as sexual messages that are sexual in nature. So these are things that, of course, if you've identified them, you can address them. So that's why we're talking about them today. And cyberbullying, bullying is a defined term under the law. So it's really anything that can cause harm. Here it says here, reasonable fear of physical or emotional harm or damage to the person's property, creating a hostile environment for that person, and also infringing the rights of that person. So that anything that you can do to that person that can result to that is considered as bullying. And then when you do it online, that is what we call cyberbullying. So that is what the Anti-Bullying Act of 2013 provides. So again, bullying is prohibited by the law. It's illegal. So you also have here, let's say if you say things, you maliciously say things that accuse someone of a crime or a defect, that is here, please focus that it may be real or imaginary. It does not need to be true. So it's real or imaginary that can be considered as libel. So if you usually libel is printed out or published, but of course we have now the digital age. If you do it online, that is what we call cyber libel. So that is also a punishable act under the law. We also have the cyber Crime Prevention Act, which says that if you do it online, all those things, there's an additional damage that must be given to the victim. So maybe I guess I just want to focus on the nature of cyberbullying, and it is demonstrated or shown the best here in this pic. So I don't know if you've seen Cobra Kai. Obvious bang guys, I love shows. So here in this situation, of course, the sensei is not young, so he doesn't really understand what others were doing to his students. So it was explained to him what cyberbullying was. So here are his thoughts on it.
And who sends you these messages?
Well, they're mostly anonymous. These kids create fake accounts, and they tell me things like I'm ugly and that I should kill myself.
Oh my God. What a bunch of pussies. Back in my day, if you wanted to tease someone, you did it to their face. There was honor, respect. These geeks hide behind their computers. What a bunch of spineless losers. You're not afraid of these losers, are you?
Okay, so it's kind of funny, but it is true because back in the day, bullying was done in front of each other. But now, I think that's why it has grown exponentially because people hide behind anonymity. Miss Louie actually mentioned that earlier, and it was so fitting for today because people think that they can get away with anything as long as they remain anonymous. But I'm telling you, anonymity is only temporary because once you can get traced, your IP addresses get traced, you will be identified. Again, diba, I told you there are things that can identify you as an individual, and your activities, your IP addresses are your personal information. So here, let us try to stop cyberbullying, at least with our friends, the people we know, the people we love, and especially in your institution. So here, Mike Tyson said that social media made you all way too comfortable with disrespecting people and not getting punched in the face for it. Okay, they're very violent about this, but I just want to make the that point to get across, you guys, that let us stop cyberbullying because not only because it's damaging to one to the person temporarily, but it actually traumatizes the person for life. And one risk again I want to remind you of is the online sexual abuse and exploitation. I'm sure you think exploitation would entail like selling you off as a sex slave or something to another person. No, abuse and exploitation come in different forms. And here I want to emphasize this term that they say is called sexting. Actually, kala mo naman I don't know about it, no, but medyo matagal na to, but it has been brought to my attention that this is more prevalent nowadays, especially of course in the rise of our in the development of our technology. So here it says sexting is sending sexually explicit messages, photos or videos via cell phone, computer, or any digital device. So here in this picture, it says, don't click send, so think. It seemed like a good idea at that time. So here the police of Gibraltar said, sending a sexual text, image, video can be dangerous if shared with the wrong person. Once you send a message, you're not in control of what happens to it, and you could find yourself in an embarrassing situation. And you may think this is something that only people abroad deal with. No, it's actually a thing here. If you see here, June 2021, this article said that young girls face a lifetime battle removing their naked photos, sex videos from the internet. So basically, she said that she had a good relationship. Well, it started good with her then boyfriend who wanted photos sexual in nature of her, and then even took videos that she did not know of. And then years after, she's still battling through it. This is actually a real experience because I've been part of the technical working group that works on the proposed bill to revise the Online Sexual Abuse Act, preventing OSAIC, or online sexual abuse and exploitation. And there was this witness that she had the same story, and she's already almost in her 30s, and she's still trying to fight the people from trying to share her videos, her photos that were taken without her consent. So again, it may be a good idea at that time because you really do trust the person, but everything out there you put out there, you can probably never get back. So that's something you should think of always. Bottom line, I just want to emphasize that we should respect each other. We should respect each other as classmates, as friends, as colleagues, and of course as human beings. So that is how we will be able to actually prevent these risks from happening. So now we go to the part where we can protect ourselves better in social media. So they say they have this phrase that pics or it didn't happen. So all of us really are like addicted to documenting our lives. Actually, even before there was social media, I was already a very trigger happy kind of person. So my digicam patawag namin nun, guys, digicam. So I would take photos of everything like food, etc. But now it's so much easier because you don't need your camera, you already have your phone, right? So what we do now is we don't only just document it for ourselves, but we actually share it to everyone. And as I told you earlier, whoa, who did that? Relax. Okay, I'm not mad, I'm just chill. So anyway, thank you for erasing. So funny. Okay, so I told you earlier that photos of yourself, videos, even let's say the likes that you have on social media, or the reshares of stories or of posts, those are actually telltale signs of what kind of person that you are. Diba? I said earlier that that third-party app, This Is Your Digital Life, was able to create a psychographic profile of people. That is because it was based not only on their answers, but really of their activities online. So really, not all that you share are the ones that you have to be wary of, but also your online activities, because they may be recorded, or I guess made a record of yourself online. So you have a digital profile. And because they say nga na Filipinos, we don't really like to be secretive. And just a fun fact, there is no direct translation of the word privacy in our language or any Filipino dialect. Because sinasabi natin na bakit ako magtatago if wala naman ako magtatago, diba? But that did not take into consideration the development of the times today. So again, everything that you share may be held against you. And I will show again another video showing why you need to be more careful on social media.
Dag Fien. Dus kun je gewoon. Ik zie een school tegen Antwerpen.
Ja.
Insecten.
Dat blieft?
Ik voel 2 insecten op je rug. Kan dat?
Ja, vlinders.
Slovenie?
Ouais.
Een moto oranje. Pas erop. Zenith.
Oui, bien.
Je hebt een vriendin, Julie de...
Ja.
Een boeiend liefdesleven. 3, 4 zelfs.
De 4e, daar zwijg ik meestal over, dus dat weten niet veel mensen.
Hoe is het met je spierscheur? Maison rouge, balkon, blanc. Ja. geld, ik zie transacties. Maar kent je rekeningnummer van buiten? Ik denk dat ik het wel weet. Je staat wel negatief op je bankrekening.
Ja?
97. Last month, you spent €200 on alcohol. Vorige maand €300 aan kleding gespendeerd. 8.
Ja.
5. Voor een huis dat van eigenaar gaat veranderen. €795.000.
Ja, maar eigenlijk.
41.
Ja.
Is dat juist?
Ja, dat is juist. Oh my god. Oh nee. Dat is, ik weet niet hoe eng.
Sorry to sorry for trying to scare you, but again, the threat is real. If everything about you is online, so anyone can just take it and use it for whatever purposes that they want. So here, I just want to share this Supreme Court case. This is very applicable to us. So in this case called Vivares versus St. Therese College. So this was done this was issued in 2014. So it's a long case. However, I'll just summarize it for the purposes of our discussion today. So there were 2 graduating senior students in St. Therese, Cebu. They were minors then. So of course, obviously, when we hang out with our friends, we do things. So what happened was, when they were changing into their swimsuits, they took photos of themselves only in their undergarments. So I think at that time it was only their bras. So one of the friends posted it on her Facebook profile. One thing to note that her profile, I think, was for friends, but also some photos were available for the public. So not just friends in the network, but public Facebook or anyone who had internet. So when they were uploaded, one of the teachers got a hold of this through her other students. So they conducted a disciplinary hearing investigation. Basically, they were not allowed to graduate because of, I guess, violation of the code of conduct of the school. So one of the issues of the case was that did they violate the privacy because they obtained the pictures that were in the Facebook profile of one student. So the Supreme Court said that the school did not violate the students' rights, their right to privacy, because the photos were viewable by the friends the friends of those students and the public at large. So the Supreme Court said that even if pictures are within your friend's network, that is not necessarily what we call private, or they had an expectation of privacy, because that is a legal term that is applied to see whether a situation is seen as private. So also take note that if the facts were changed, meaning they only shared it to a close group of friends, versus, let's say, sharing it in their entire network or the public, the case may have been different. But what we want to remember here is that even if you share it in your social media platform where you're not really your account is not public, but it's just limited to friends, if you post something there that can be seen by all of your contacts, that may not be considered as private. Okay, so there may not be a violation of your privacy in case your photos and your videos were used. So now we go to the tips to help secure our safety in the use of social media. So one, we create strong passwords. So it says here, create strong passwords. Pumili ng password na talagang ipaglalaban ka sa mga hacker. So strong passwords are at least 12 characters long and contain a combination of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and if possible, symbols. So it also says here, use different passwords for each account. And use the two-factor authentication feature. Actually, now I think they're what we call multi-factor authentication that includes already your biometrics, like your iris scan or your face ID, right, or your thumbprint. They can also be used to definitely up the security of your account. So it says here, never use the same passwords on multiple accounts. Huwag masyadong loyal sa isang password para mo na ring sinuko lahat agad-agad. So having different passwords on multiple accounts makes it harder for hackers to guess them. So as we said, use the two-factor or multi-factor authentication feature and creates a special email for the use of your social media accounts. So let's say if you have an email for your school, email for your social media account, email for your shopping activities. So you can have them separate. So just in case they may be obtained or maybe hacked, not everything is affected. So tip number 2, remember the why of your social media. So ask yourself again, why are you using that social media platform? So is it for to connect with friends or family? Is it to share content what you're passionate about? Is it to discover other people with the same interests? Is it to get your brand out? Meaning if you have a small business now or maybe in the future. Or maybe just really you want to be an influencer because, that's a thing right now. You always have to remember the why so that you can act accordingly. So if it's for public, of course, you pick what you share for the public to see. Not everything about your personal life should be shared. If you are connecting with friends and family, of course, you can share more, but you can also create a close friends list. So number 3 tip says limit your connections. So again, beware of strangers. Do not accept friend requests just because you see a lot of mutual friends, or just because you think you've seen this person before. Because gone are the days that paramihan tayo ng connection sa Facebook or paramihan ng followers sa Instagram. You really want to limit those who can see your personal data or any information about you. So also, as I said, you customize, you toggle with the privacy settings of your social media. So you can see their privacy settings, who sees your profile. Check also right away later assignment. Sorry guys, I'm not a teacher, but assignment later. Check whether your profile is public or private, and then if you can also check the privacy settings of your posts to see how you are posting them, meaning is it really to your entire network or is just really to a closed list of friends. So so create a closed family and friends group, create a closed friends list on Instagram. And also, of course, try not to click on third-party apps. As we said, they might be dangerous. So also another tip is, so do not click on pop-ups or virus warnings. So it says here, kahit marupok, wag basta-basta magpauto. These warnings are now called scareware, which are fake security alerts telling you to click a link to download software or to remove the virus on your computer, but the links may contain viruses. So clean up your Facebook third-party apps. Malaking problema ang mga third-party, lalo na sa data privacy. So while they're a fun way to find games or see which celebrity look-alike third-party apps on Facebook can and too often send your personal data to at least 25 outside data companies. So it's definitely a good idea to remove permissions from unnecessary ones. I know we are so lazy to look at the terms and conditions, but if you see, let's say if you have a third-party app, now the permission there that you give, it's usually permission to use your information that is on your profile, to use the information of your friends or your friends in that social media platform. their personal details, personal data as well. And sometimes I've seen recently that in order for me to sign up to something, actually to vote for a K-pop group, I had to I had to grant access to my Kakao Talk, and it says there the app can actually read my messages and delete them or share them. Isn't that crazy? So I'm sorry to my K-pop group, but I will not share my personal details just to vote. So here, it says, one tip also says that do not log in on personal accounts or on free public Wi-Fi. So hindi lahat ng libre at willing magpagamit ay dapat gamitin. So open networks makes it easy for people to peek into your activity and accounts, and the people who you share the network with may also be using compromised devices. So if you do have to use public Wi-Fi or free Wi-Fi, maybe you can use them to browse the internet, but do not log in on sensitive accounts. Let's say if you have a bank account as early as now, or let's say your account in school, anywhere that you have personal data stored in. And then lastly, don't be too public. So limit the personal data that you share in your posts. It says here, sa panahon ngayon, mahirap nang ibigay ang lahat-lahat. So while sharing the details about your life can be fun and exciting, there are just some things that you should never ever share on social media. Things like your home addresses, because that can be a risk to you and your family. So vacation details, they know that you're not at home, and that may be a risk for you and your family as well. So ticket numbers, your location, and the layout of your house should be kept private. So here, again, every time you want to click post or to share a photo, a video, a statement, think before you tap or think before you post. I saw this online. It's so helpful. So it says here, think has it, letter T is true. Is it true what you're posting? H, is it helpful? I, is it inspiring? Or the other is it illegal? N, is it necessary? And then K, is it kind? So we really are the product of our choices. That includes what you choose to share about yourself on social media and how it will affect other people. So again, think before you post. To, of course, not only protect you, but also protect the ones you love. And just one thing before we end this talk, just remember that not everything on social media is real. Social media is really the perceived reality, or actually the goal of that person, how they want to be shown or how they want to be seen by others. So here, this cartoon by Easlot. So it says here, in social media, she looks so perfect and stuff, but in reality, it's just a Snapchat filter. So on social media, it says, thanks, Bay, TY Bay with the flowers, but oops, she didn't really buy it for herself. On social media, oh, wow, parang she's super sexy, she's so fit, but it's actually just, magaling lang siya mag-post and pigilan yung hinga niya, guys. So it's really not what is real all the time. And here you can see that they posted a selfie together, but in reality, you are actually just browsing social media with each other. And this is funny because my friends and I do it sometimes. So again, don't feel pressured about what you see on social media, about other people are perceivingly living their lives, because we all have our own paths to take. So here, finally, be better in real life than on social media. That is our goal always. So thank you for your attention, and I really do hope that you were able to learn a thing or two today from this discussion.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Attorney Lumanog, for a very insightful talk. As digital citizens, it is indeed necessary for all of us to be on our toes. And it is indeed necessary that we protect our own privacy. Yes, dear students, we have the responsibility and the right to protect our personal information. Also, we need to ensure that our values are intact as we interact virtually. Do you agree, attorney?
Yes, ma'am, of course.
Okay. Now, we proceed to our open forum. This will be facilitated by Miss Clara Isabel Novicio, MC Nuvali High School Student Council President.
Good afternoon, attorney. So for those who have any questions, please feel free to DM me if you would prefer to stay anonymous, or you can send them directly in the chat box and I will read them out loud for attorney to answer. Okay, so the first question we have here is, it was mentioned a while ago that there are some countries who don't have data privacy acts. How do these people manage to protect themselves and seek legal help when their personal info has been breached?
Well, us lawyers, we always say that we're not competent to discuss other jurisdictions' laws. So I will already say that I don't know how they deal with that situation where they don't have data privacy laws. But just imagine how we did it before when the Data Privacy Act was not there. So we had to rely on other laws. We do have other protections, such as the revised penal code that I discussed earlier. So diba, you had libel, and then even before the Data Privacy Act, we already had the Cybercrime Prevention Act. You also have provisions on damages in the civil code. So we do have laws that can protect us, but data privacy ensures that there is a specific law that you can run to when you want to protect your personal data.
Thank you so much for that answer, Po. The next question is, what is your opinion on videos we see on TikTok that people do to expose one another?
TikTok, I'm sorry, I'm not so I'm not so knowledgeable. If you can please explain what the question means. What do you mean exposing each other?
For context, po, TikTok is an online social media platform.
Yes, I know what TikTok is. What do you mean by exposing each other on TikTok?
That's the question. Didn't have any other context, but I think based on what I'm reading, they're asking about people who expose, for example, po, one off the top of my head I can think of is, oh, this guy did something to me without my consent, and it's made into a video. So that has their identity revealed. So what is your opinion on those types of videos, po?
Right. Well, it's always circumstantial. So it's always a case to case basis where we see if there is indeed a violation to data privacy. So you will still have to consider as well other protections, such as the right to free expression. So it's not always leaning towards data privacy, because if you only control the use of personal data, we're really not going to be able to represent for the ability to use these platforms as a protection to us, because we will still be liable at the end if there is a violation of some sort. So yeah, just be careful with what you say about anything, about anyone on social media.
Thank you so much, po. The next question is a clarification about something you said a while ago, po. So in regards to the thing about logging into accounts on public Wi-Fi networks, does that refer to the act of logging in or simply just using those accounts? Thank you.
Well, as long as you input a credential that's already a threat to you. So for example, there are free public Wi-Fis that you can use right away, right? Without having to give your email or give your contact number. So those are, I guess, better in a way, because you don't voluntarily give the details that they can use later on. But it's really about logging in your accounts when you're using free or public Wi-Fi. So just think about it na anytime you give your email, your name, your address, your birth date, those are things that can be used to harm you in one way or another in the future. So yeah.
Thank you so much, po. So the next question is regarding the action that St. Therese College did, po, with the case of the students. What is your stand on the matter? Is this a case of limitation of free expression by the institution, or just another case of religious bias and gender inequality? Men usually post the same content, but there aren't much reports of institutions doing legal actions to curb this.
Okay, actually, very good question. Very Miss Universe. I was not prepared for that. But I think, in my opinion, we have to respect academic freedom because you will maybe in the future know or learn about the difference between public and private institutions. So some rights are immediately exercisable against the government or against public institutions because we are governed by the Constitution, other laws. However, when it comes to private institutions, let's say like St. Therese College, I'm assuming that they are private educational institution. They had to abide their own policies, and that is a reasonable exercise of academic freedom. And academic freedom is a right guaranteed by the Constitution. So I don't think it's really about gender inequality at that time, because it was really about I guess them being exposed. And if you read the whole case, it's not just about them in their undergarments, because I think they were also smoking, they were also drinking in the pictures. So I just focused really on what happened and what the issue on privacy was. So yeah, so my opinion is that we have to be it's not black and white really. And also it's the distinction between private and public institutions are very important when it comes to exercising what they think are reasonable disciplinary measures are. Yeah.
Thank you so much, po. There was a follow-up question sent to me. So regarding the St. Therese College case, why is it, po, that in cases like these, it is usually the female students who face more backlash compared to male students?
Well, we can't really generalize. Let me just tell you, I am one with a woman, so I'm not defending the patriarchy here, but I think there was just no case filed that we know of, or at least that I know of, that I wasn't able to share with you. So I don't think really it's at that time it was about gender biases. Yeah.
Thank you so much, po. So next question. For example, there are things companies do to improve their marketing, like how Facebook looks at the posts you look at or what you search on their site for the pure purpose of advertising things that relate to you, and other instances like that. What should we do if we don't want them to do that? I recognize that it is mainly just to gather information about us for marketing, but there are people who feel uncomfortable with that way of gathering information.
Well, if it's Facebook per se, like Facebook the app, and they gather certain information about you, they do have controls there and in privacy settings, especially let's say with targeted marketing. I explored your Instagram app. They also have that on targeted marketing. So you can turn off those options if you don't want more data collected about you. But I would say it's reasonable because they are indeed a business anyway. Let's face it. So it's really up to you on how much you want to put out there, on how much you want to use the app. Because at the end of the day, they say that the free use of the app is already enough compensation for whatever they're getting from you. But the important thing is that they tell you what they do to your data, because that's what data privacy is about. Like, it's really about knowledge on what is happening to your data, and if you do consent to it, then that is your choice. If it's allowable under the law for them to process that data, then the law provides that, diba? Again, data privacy is not really exercised absolutely because under the Constitution we do have other rights, but they're also exercised within limitations. So it's in the same way, diba, the right to free expression is always exercised also within limits. The same way data privacy is that we always have to consider the other legitimate interests that other people may have.
Thank you, po. The next question is, should your information get breached? Is there anything you can do to secure it again, or just pray that people don't find it?
Well, of course, you have to secure the account that you used to log in. So, for example, if you see that let's say your email address was used in that breach, then of course you go right away to your email to change your password, and just so you know that if you know that your information is breached, like for sure with certainty, you can file a complaint with us, National Privacy Commission. So yeah.
Thank you, po. So the next question I received was, how can we be assured that the information collected from us in from public places like the malls, restaurants, etc., for contact tracing purposes are actually secured and protected? Papers where the information written are exposed and might be easily accessed by unauthorized persons.
Yes, we do know of these issues, but okay, just a background for you because I wasn't really able to expound on data privacy, but under the Data Privacy Act, information that is used in times of public emergencies or to respond to national emergencies. So that includes now, right? The issuance of the IATF are under that. So even without your consent, they can actually collect your data because of those resolutions, because that they transform into they come with a force and effect of law because they are executive orders, so you have to follow them. So even without your consent, they can actually get your data for contact tracing purposes only. Okay, so you have to distinguish that the purpose for processing should only limit their use the use of your data for that purpose only. As to the security, of course, we cannot like monitor all Philippines and go to all public places to see whether they're securing the personal data that you've submitted to them because of these resolutions. But know that they will always be held liable under the Data Privacy Act in case we find that they have violated the law.
Thank you, po. So the next question is a case scenario. So, for an instance, a minor has been exchanging sensitive photos, adult content like nudes, with an adult, and after months, that minor has turned into an adult na rin po. Will the older person still be held accountable for what has happened between them in the past?
Well, of course, when it comes to the law, we always look at the time the act was done. So at the time the act was done, the person was a minor. So of course, even if that minor becomes an adult, the fact is the act or the crime punishable was made during when she was a minor, and he will still be held liable for that scenario. Did I answer it correctly? I mean, did I answer the question?
Yes, po.
Okay.
Thank you so much. So we have a question here about passwords. So how frequently should we change our passwords? And as a follow-up, if someone is forgetful, is it all right to put your passwords on a piece of paper or in the Notepad app?
Well, I'm actually guilty of the Notepad app because I'm very forgetful. But there's already a security feature in the Notepad in the Notes app, well, at least in the iPhone, that you can encrypt it with a password. So I guess don't forget that password if you're gonna use that type of keeping your other passwords. But there are password manager apps also that you can use. My kuya does that, and he says I should do it, but I'm very old school. Okay, I'm not really the best example here, but you should also use that. So password manager, and if you do choose to let's say put it in your Notes app, secure that note itself with a password. And when you should change your password, that would be dependent, let's say, on the type of account that you have. But regular, let's say maybe at least 4 times in a year or like every quarter. Also, don't use the same passwords on the same accounts, especially if you use the same email.
Thank you, Paul. And the last question we have here is, what are cookies in websites and should we accept them?
Okay, cookies are just they're software in the website that remembers what you were looking for or remembers your activities in that website. Basically, that's it. Because it says, well, usually cookies are there to supposedly bring a better experience for the user. So let's say next time that you visit the website, they know what you're trying to look for. So that's really what cookies are about. Whether you should accept them, check the terms and conditions. I know it's a lot to read, but I usually don't accept because I don't want to have a record of my activities there in that website. Even if it's like, let's say, a simple website. You can also check your browser history in your browser application. You can erase your previously searched history there and other things that you can erase about your activities there.
Thank you so much for all your informative answers, po. I believe that is all the questions we have for right now. So I will now pass the floor back to our MCs. Once again, thank you so much, po, attorney.
Thank you, Isa, and thank you so much, Attorney, for patiently providing all those information to our students. Thank you also to our students who actively participated. We hope that the learning we got from this afternoon session would enhance our digital skills and enforce our values. We will now go to the awarding of the digital certificate to our resource person. Allow me to read the citation. Miriam College Basic Education Unit. If Miss Angel could show it, please. The citation goes, Miriam College Basic Education Unit awards this Certificate of Appreciation to Attorney Erlaine Vanessa Lumanog for sharing her expertise through a talk on digital citizenship for the Basic Education Unit students and faculty held via Zoom, given this 12th day of November 2021 in Miriam College, Quezon City, signed by our Director for Basic Education, Ms. Maria Luella Tambinco. Let us give our speaker a virtual round of applause. Let us end today's session with a closing prayer. May I call on Mr. Jared Kurt Malyari, SDTEC Sangguniang President, to lead us in prayer.
Good afternoon. Let us all bow down our heads and I am waiting for the presentation.
If Miss Angel could please flash the slides.
Thank you. Let us all bow down our heads and feel the presence of the Lord In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Gracious Father, we thank you for this successful and meaningful discussion. Thank you for all the learnings and wisdom that you have provided us. Thank you for being in our midst throughout this session. Lord, as we leave this session, let us be the salt and light. May we put into practice what we have discussed and learned. Help us to make a difference in this world for the glory of your name. All this we pray in your name. Amen. Miriam of Nazareth, teach us your ways and lead us to Jesus. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you so much, Jared, for the closing prayer. Before we end, may I remind everyone that an evaluation link will be posted on the chat box. Kindly check the chat box. Kindly evaluate this activity so we know how we can improve future learning sessions. With this, I would like to thank everyone for joining and have a good afternoon.
Thank you, everyone, and stay safe.
Thank you, attorney.